when I was a kid, I used to go explore or whatever on my own. And right now I'm walking, it's like 92, 93 degrees here in Texas. I got my bike fixed. There was a flat tire and it needed new tires anyway and stuff. And I was going to spend a lot more on it, like $62 or something, maybe $70, just to get the tires done. And anyway, so I went and saw Spider-Man. And as I came out to get my bike to ride home, there was a flat on the front tire, and I was expecting to get new tires anyway. That's why I priced it out. And it was like the first place I went to price this out, but in expectation of this happening, it was like, $60 some. We're gonna order the tires. It's $20 each, and then you got the tubes, which is another 10 each to work. So you're looking at probably like $60. And I was like, all right, cool. Also, I found out after I got the flat today, instead of going to that place, which is a further walk than the Dick's Sporting Goods that I went to, I just rolled the bike get right in, pumped the tire, saw that it was like running low on air, or it was leaking air. So I was like, I can do a seal myself. And I started talking to the guy. He's like, well, it's blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, $41.23. I'm like, oh, and then the brake doesn't work. Can you fix? He's like, yeah, I'll fix that, no problem. He's like, actually, in the back, there's like this, bar that was loose. He's like, I'll tighten that too, no sweat. So more work, less money, and the only downside is I had to get home. Well, on my way home, I stopped to get 2 bottles of water, and when I came out, I was like, let me just at least ask someone if they can, because I had to go home to get money. Let me at least ask someone if they can give me a ride, like just up the street. So I stopped by this dude with the truck. I'm like, hey man, can I hop in the back if you happen to be going north? He's like, well, actually I'm headed south. He's like, well, where are you going? I'm like, just a couple lights up. He's like, man, just hop in. I'm like, okay, I'll hop in the back. He's like, no, hop in the cab. So I hop in the cab. Nice guy, 29 years old. We talked for a minute. The first thing I did is I had 2 bottles of water because they were on special. And I was like, do you want a bottle of water? You want a liter of water? Just bought it. It's brand new, cold. He's like, nah. He's like, yeah, actually. And I was like, no problem. So he got his water. I got my ride. He took me right up to like a block down from where I live, and that was on me just saying, hey, just drop me off. He's like, I'll take you all the way there. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. And now, and then we said goodbye, and I went home, charged my phone, and I'm like, all right, now I got to trudge back to get the bike. And I'm thinking about the hidden manna, and the hidden manna is, when Jesus went out into the desert, everyone got fed, or when the Israelites were wandering, they got like the manna that came from the sky. It's like exactly what you need, because God is watching everything that's happening. Well, for me, he's like, well, first he needs new tires or whatever. Tires aren't going to last forever because they're man-made. And God eventually, like if it's man-made, something's going to fucking happen to our construction. See, our shit breaks. The tube of the tire, a car, whatever it is. And when God makes something, it doesn't break. Like you can't break air. Although we try, you don't break a tree unless, you can cut it down, but it doesn't like break. Typically, like water doesn't break, as long as you keep it unpolluted or whatever. My point is that with our shit, it breaks, so he likes to prove that. But the last time something similar happened was when I had my car, before I sold it. And, I was like, oh, the tire looks fucked up. And I happened to get a flat right next to a place that fixes flat tires. Just like today, I happened to get a flat right next to a place that fixes flat tires. And the funny thing is, when I was going to fix the car, I was thinking about going to a more expensive option, but I decided to hold off. And when it actually broke, it got broken in the perfect spot, which is right next to where I needed to be, just like today. And the same thing before, it was going to be more expensive when I was going to do it myself, but when it broke, it was right there. Here's my point. Hidden manna takes form. It takes lots of different forms. 2,000 years ago, because God didn't have as many options in the desert, the manna took the form of falling from the sky. Like they woke up and they ate this weird substance that just happened to appear because there is a God. today, like, he's got more options. So in the form of that ride for me, in the form of, fixing that tire, that I'm going to pay for, in the form of like my other tire breaking down and getting fixed right next to where I needed to be. And throughout my whole journey, I've experienced a lot of different hidden manna. I was thinking about, I just like find money on the street. Like, I was broke yesterday, but I didn't realize money, showed up in my account. And I found $20 on the street last week, which helped me get that far, And I found another $20 bill a couple weeks beforehand. And then I found a $100 bill, like 8 months ago. I found 2 singles. My point is, like, I find cash when I need it. I was like going to get booted from this hotel, but I needed $100, and just happened to find it right before I realized I needed it. I was like, man, this $100 came in like good. It came in handy. I wouldn't even be able to pay my hotel bill. So anyway, that's like something I wanted to mention. Is like hidden manna. But the reason I started this up is to show that walking. It's 92 degrees or whatever. Like, walking is at like July heat in Texas. And I realized, I'm like, I used to go on like walks exploring in the same conditions during the summer when I was a kid. And going through that experience makes it easier for me now. Because I'm like, this is that walking thing I used to do when I was younger. That makes sense. So he's with you every single step of the way. Playing a game. It's a video game. And somebody says, well, it's only belief. Your belief gets you into heaven. It's like in your video game, it starts up and you're the unit, you're looking at the unit, the unit's looking at the whole board. It's like a first player game. And someone who is a believer sits there and they're like, I believe I'm in a video game. And they don't move. They're like this. Yep, I'm here. I believe. Okay, well, there's like a video game you can play with. They're the unit that doesn't move. And Jesus was like, I'm in a fucking video game, and now I'm gonna go until I sacrifice my life to prove, like that we're in a video game. That makes sense. Because on the other side of the game is God, and Jesus is on his throne too. Now, and if people didn't ruin that message over 2,000 years, when I said it, that statement, it would have more potency rather than all this toxic shit that pops in your mind because of things like organized religion. It sucks.